Everybody, this video is going to be about ELD log cheaters. Please understand, prior to 2017, e-logs didn't start coming into effect till 2012. Okay, and the law didn't go into effect till I believe it was 2017, 2018. But when you had paper log, you could easily run 3,500 to 4,500 miles a week. Many truck drivers did that. For years, for decades. Then came e-logs, were creating problems, but people figured out the way to cheat in the e-log strategically by using some tech firms overseas that you would pay them and they will adjust your e-logs and you will not get caught. But what happened was, these companies that were participating in e-log cheating, what they were doing was stealing truck drivers' money. So the truck driver participated because it was suitable for both parties. Okay, and you need to find parking. Okay, you got some extra hour. You need to go home. You're short on hours. You get some extra hours and go home on time. Okay, so you need to make this delivery. You need to pick up this load. Instead of waiting the next day, you could drive a little extra. So the companies that were participating in that were started abusing truck drivers, making them drive extra. There were accidents. But what the tipping point was these companies got greedy and they were stealing truck drivers' paycheck. When you steal someone's paycheck, they don't care if they were participating in the bull crap, okay? Truck drivers started reporting that to the FMCSA and DOT. Okay, the complaints started piling up over and over again, and now this is the result. The result is, as of April 1st, 2026, anyone caught with tampering of e-logs will be put out of service automatically. DOT has figured out the way. Using artificial intelligence cameras on the roads of America, and when you're passing weigh station, whether you went inside that weigh station or not, your vehicle has been identified, okay, using AI technology, and you will be put out of service. But what DOT knows and how these companies that were popping up telling the trucking companies that we can adjust your logs and give you extra drive time for this amount of money. Here, this gentleman right here who owns his own insurance company, freight insurance company, will detail what DOT knows. And I repeat, please understand, the reason the DOT was able to catch up to this because there was dirtbag trucking companies, mostly out of Midwest, who were stealing truck drivers' paycheck. And the truck drivers were going around, okay, filing complaints, and the complaints were piling up, and this is the result. Okay?
The federal government forces an entire industry to use a piece of technology. The technology doesn't work the way they promised. The people using it start finding workarounds because the rules are strangling them. And then the government turns around and says, you are the criminal. That is exactly what is happening in trucking right now. And the crackdown that's coming in May 2026 is going to catch a lot of people off guard. So let's talk about it.
Before I interject, okay, one thing I do not agree with what I found is that there are carriers who specialize in hazardous material transportation who are participating in illegal log operation. And there are a bunch of them that I care not to name. That's the most dangerous part. And I don't think these carriers who are participating in an illegal log operation understand the consequences of hauling hazardous material while operating illegal.
Commercial Vehicle Safety Alliance, CVSA, just announced that their annual International Road Check Blitz, scheduled for May 12th through the 14th, is going to zero in on one thing above all else: ELD tampering. Not brakes, not tires, not even impaired driving. The number one driver side focus of the biggest inspection event of the year is going to be whether or not your electronic specific logging device has been messed with. And if inspectors determine your logs have been tampered with, you're not getting a warning. You're getting put out of service immediately for a minimum of 10 hours, possibly longer. Now, here's the context that makes this so much more explosive than it sounds on paper. Starting April 1st, 2026, and yes, the irony of that date is not lost on anyone, ELD tampering officially becomes a standalone out-of-service violation under CVSA's updated criteria. That means inspectors now have a specific code, a specific process, and a specific mandate.
When it comes to inventory and order management systems, many companies are...
That means inspectors now have a specific code, a specific process, and a specific mandate to hunt for it. This isn't just heightened awareness. This is a formalized enforcement weapon that did not exist before. And the numbers already tell the story. In 2025, falsification of record of duty status was the second most cited driver violation in the entire country. 58,382 violations. During last year's road check alone, false logs ranked as the number 4 overall driver violation. 5 out of the top 10 driver violations were related to hours of service or ELDs. That's not a fringe issue. That is the industry screaming under the weight of a system that does not work for the people actually doing the job. But here's where it gets really interesting, and where the story goes deeper than most people realize. ELD tampering didn't just happen organically. A black market...
This is what he's about to say. There's a black market that specializes in assisting companies with tampering e-logs. And this is how DOT figured out. The DOT figured it out. Is trucking companies stealing truck drivers' money. The complaints started piling up, and truck drivers gave that information. And now, as of April 1st, there's a new law. If DOT knows how to catch you now. Because they're tracking your cameras through artificial intelligence cameras. Truck. And what they're doing, they're gonna check your bills of lading and the date when you picked up that load, and few more things that I care not to mention.
Grew up around it. Overdrive reported that companies are cold calling motor carriers and owner-operators offering what they call ELD editing services. One outfit called Logbook Hub was advertising on Facebook that it could fix your logbook for $30.
Now, what did I did a video a couple of weeks ago regarding Sam's Express, that these people are so dumb, they were advertising their illegal log operation on social media, boasting about it. That's how dumb these people were. I'm dead serious. And now you just got a confirmation yourself.
A week, another company, AVN Logistics Group, called an owner-operator promising services that included e-log editing. When a reporter pressed them on it, they first admitted they could add driving time after a driver ran out of hours. Then backpedaled and said everything they do is perfectly legal. $30 a week to make your violations disappear. That's not a couple of rogue drivers. That's an industry within an industry, and it exists because the underlying system created the demand for it. And while we're on the subject of the underlying system, let's talk about the devices themselves. Because FMCSA, the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration, has been on an absolute tear pulling ELDs off the approved list. Just this week on February 12th, 9 more devices got revoked. In late December 2025, 4 more were yanked. In early December, another 3. These are devices that were supposedly certified as compliant, that carriers were required to purchase and use, and that turned out not to even meet minimal federal standards. Some of them were accused of actively facilitating the very tampering the government now wants to prosecute drivers for. Revoked devices were even re-emerging under new brand names, gaming a self-certification system that FMCSA itself admitted was broken. So the agency created a system where manufacturers could certify their own compliance with an essentially no verification. Let non-compliant and outright fraudulent devices lead the market, and is now telling the drivers they're criminals for using them. You really cannot make this up. And FMCSA's response? They announced a complete overhaul of the vetting process back in December 2025. But an overhaul years after the mandate went into effect is not a victory lap. It's an admission of institutional failure. The ELD mandate was sold as tamper-proof. That was the whole pitch. No more paper comic books, no more swindle sheets, electronic devices that automatically record driving time and can be altered. Except they absolutely can be altered. And now there is a cottage industry built around doing exactly that. And the government is responding not by fixing the root problem, but by punishing the people at the bottom of the food chain.
Turns out,